Hi! What happened to my animation? So, how do videos like this normally start? Okay, so, sorry, I say okay, so a lot. Okay, so, hi! Welcome. Sorry for the lame intro. I'm Perplexity. Strange name, I know. I'm an artist, writer, and I have a problem. And no, not these. I fixed them last in the last cut. Originally, I wanted to post a tutorial video concerning my character design process and how you can create great design. But that would mean anyone coming in would think this was a tutorial channel and I didn't want that. I racked my brain for days and I came up with whatever this video is. Also, sorry if it sounds like you put your video in 2 times speed. I talk really fast and I, I feel so bad for my viewers. You see, ever since the idea of being a YouTuber crossed my mind, it was like I found my calling. My main goal is to entertain people with my stories and hopefully be someone's comfort YouTuber as well. Hopefully. On this channel, I'm going to mainly talk about my OCs or worlds because I want people to enjoy my stories as much as I do. I might make tutorials or share my creative process, although I'm still trying to find a rendering style I like, and I tend to get very fixated on things I like or currently interested in, so I might talk about anything and everything. Well, anything and everything I can. And while we're on this subject, on the parchment we have games. Definitely. Games like I just love games. At the office I intern, if you ever see me hunched over in this specific position, yeah, I'm most likely playing a game. In the next category, currently I have no face. Although people say I should, I don't know, I just have a hard time picking favorites in general. So some I would recommend are Apothecary Diaries, Full Metal Alchemist, of course, The Lord of Mysteries. Honestly, this one I don't care about it that much, but it's actually very good once you get past episode 5 though. Any Ghibli film, and oh, it seems my list is missing. I started reading My Hero Academia, Taliban Hanako-kun, Witch Hat Atelier, and Gokurakugai. I hope that's how you say it. I'm still open to recommendations though. Plus, go read these. These are actually very, very nice. Again, I'm so sorry for the 2 times speed audio. I'm also interested in psychology, so I'll also find the time for that. I talk a lot. I mentioned this earlier in the video. So if I find someone with similar interests, I love it. Talk with me about our similar interests and I will love you for life. I also like hold on. Hold on. I need a better list. I think some things might be missing. What's this? Did you make my list? I like the horror genre, so give me anything that. Although it's hard finding people with similar interests in horror around me, it makes me feel weird. When I ask, what's your favorite genre? Ew, sci-fi, yeah? Horror. Why would you like that? I don't know. I enjoy fear and suspense and stop before you get demonetized. I also enjoy thrillers, mysteries, comedies, and actions. Did I do well? And then my default hobbies, the ones I always do when I get tired or just find myself doing. I love reading, drawing, and writing. Writing especially. Ever since I was young, I always wanted to be a writer. I love reading and would constantly ask my mother to buy me books. Heck, I carried a book and pen everywhere. Even now I still do. It's like it's a part of me. So I'd read a book, have an idea for a book, and start writing. Though I never finished most of them. When I wrote, I always gave someone to read. I loved sharing my stories and I wanted people to enjoy them, even though some clearly did not care. There was this girl I always gave my books to, and she read them. It's surprising, I know. One day, I walked up to this girl and asked, "Hey, you're always reading my books. Do you find them interesting?" And she said, I don't know. I just read them because you give them to me." What? 9-year-old me was shattered. Mind you, at that time, she was the only one who kept reading my books. And hearing this made me depressed. I thought for days. Maybe I wasn't a good writer. Maybe I should just take a break. You see, I wanted to take a break, but my brain had a mind of its own. While I was wallowing in thoughts, my brain kept pushing this awesome, new, revolutionary idea. And then I did what anyone would do. I started writing. And while I was writing, my whole thought process was, I'll just write something so good that no one will be able to resist it. And it's going to be the best. And everyone would love it. And there's going to be so much fan discussions and theories around it. And as I got older, I got into art and then animation, which led me to study these more. While consuming so much media, it was like my eyes were open. My wee brain started to come up with more complex plot and ideas, which I always wrote down. And when I say ideas, I mean ideas. And that's why I said worlds, not OCs, worlds. You see, right from birth, I've had a very, very wild imagination. And this overthinker here had decided to have not one, but three different stories to work on simultaneously. And I feel so bad for my cousin because she is the one who takes the brunt of the situation. Every time I have a new idea, I find her number and message her. And our chat basically goes like this: Hey, guess what? What? I just thought of something. Well, tell me. And then it's just me delivering podcasts and albums of lore. I think around this time when I was writing and we were away from each other for so long, I realized that I talk a lot. So, so I'd spend 10 minutes ranting about lore that I'm very sure she didn't even care about. But she was so kind enough. She's always so kind enough to listen. And then she's like, oh, yeah, that's nice. Like, what's nice? Give me something deeper. I want more. Anyway, I have 3 stories. And I do plan to make one of them an animated series someday. But don't worry, I won't dive into world building, not yet anyway. So relax and listen. It's gonna be good. I promise. In this world, a war is brewing. Within and outside the empire of Orcrest, the witches are on a rampage, turning unrest spirits into banes and awakening ancient beasts. Gambit is a story following a high court man and an assassin who unfortunately have been bound by a blood curse. This means I get hurt, you also get hurt. Both are after revenge, but have very different ideals. These two have history. But let's toss that aside for now. Long story short, in the past, Argenta was a hunter that worked under Damon Cross. She saw him as a vile, sadistic serpent and finally left the Empire of Orcrest for the Eastern Empire. Overseas, she made a name for herself, the Gravedigger, an assassin who killed the unjust, and this tale slowly spread across all 5 empires. 2 years later, she returns to Orcrest, following lead concerning the fire that destroyed the orphanage she was raised in. And as a fun side quest for herself, she plans the assassination of Damon, who is now the Second Crown. Unfortunately, you guessed it, she gets caught and is allowed trial before the High Court. Although her doom is certain, she makes a plan to escape, but that escape is ruined when a witch attacks the High Court. Things lead to another, and she, along with Damon, lands smack in the middle of the witch's ritual and ruin it in the process. The witch, filled with rage, uses a blood curse on them as a punishment, and then flees the court. Argenta finds out Damon has ties to the witch and could possibly be one himself. Outrageous, I know. Now the lives are linked, and they have to figure out how to handle everything together, despite the fact that they hate each other. I started the story when I was 11, or was it 12, and I decided to pick it up again because I actually really loved the story. But it was way different, and my 12ish, 11-year-old self just wrote a cringe story that I don't even know if anyone would even want to listen to it. I'm telling you, I was reading it and I had no room left to cringe. In this world, we have a murder mystery. Everybody hands up for me. We follow our main cast as they try to survive the serial killer rampaging the quiet cliffside town. All connection to the outside world has been cut off due to a landslide, and the waters are unstable, denying any ship passage in or out. With a virus, hallucinogenic toxin, and a killer plague in the town, they have to figure out what's real and what's not in order to survive. And trust me, that's not an easy task. Lanai is a scholar. She's part of the elites and has a very good life. In fact, she's about to get married. And if you know me, you know there's no way that's happening. She gets jilted at the altar by her fiancé on the day of the wedding. And then she finds him with another lady and publicly threatens to delete both of them before storming off. That night, their bodies are found, abandoned, and Lanai immediately becomes the suspect. On her way to the scene, she runs into a young man, Keith. They get off on the wrong foot and she finds out he's actually the junior detective assigned to the case, who's already very suspicious of her. Although upon seeing the body, Lanai identifies a possible method the killer has, which piques Keith's interest. In order to avoid the seller, Lanai arrives to her fiancé's burial in a wedding dress, further feeding into the fact that she was once labeled as unstable. Using her intelligence, Lanai gets the boy to send her to the asylum where she spends months, and as she finally begins to accept her fate, guess who arrives? The young detective. He tells her there's another body and he can get her out on parole if she appeals. She tells him to freak off and that she's satisfied here. And Keith obviously doesn't listen. His frequent visits were enough to drive her mad, and he was finally able to get her out. Lana is now assigned under his supervisor's guidance, which means he can bug her all he wants, and also find out if she's truly the killer. No, stick with me. This story was actually supposed to be way away. When I say way, it was actually supposed to be way different. They were to be stuck in a facility and they had to fight their way to the top with human mutated viruses and stuff. I even started a comic back then. Oh, accomplishments. Although it's kind of like rotten in, wherever it is. I think there's old art of them in my Insta highlight, so you can go check it out. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. I don't actually have a name for this world yet, so I'm gonna call it nameless. In this world, strange beings called the Others have appeared from nowhere. The abilities they use is called Null, with no origins just like them. The world the Others come from has begun to leak into the main world, and now they plan to merge the two worlds. Should this happen, the real world and humanity will be erased, and the world of the Others, the Elsewhere, will gain form. The only beings capable of defeating the Others are entities, beings that draw their magic directly from nature. But the entities have disappeared, leaving the Noesis and the Hero Party to fight this battle. A girl, tired of the strong female warrior trope, wants to be a damsel in distress, even though she's perfectly capable of taking care of things herself. One day, she falls asleep and wakes up in a tombstone. She realizes that she had woken up in the past where a great battle had taken place, a battle between the Hero Party and beings called the Others. The thing is, this was a tale from her time, and the heroes were praised for saving the world. Now, she was transported into this deadly war with no idea how to survive. Worse, she has the consciousness of 5 hostile entities, a keepsake from her father, and these are dangerous relics that should not be found by anyone. She meets Lavender, who tells her if nothing in the past changes, the future will remain the same. Obviously. But in a series of events, the consciousness of the hostile entities got freed, the timer for the destruction of the world was sped up, and the Hero Party hasn't even been formed. The past has been completely changed, and the doom of the world is now certain. Unfortunately, she can't try to fix up the past because she's currently occupied with a death mark, surviving what's probably an apocalypse, and 5 very hostile entities holding their lives by a thread. The girls are now tasked with retrieving the entities' witnesses while trying to survive. These were the quickest summaries I could come up with, as these stories are still a work in progress. But I do know the direction I want to go in with these stories. I want Gambit to be a book. I'm currently 5 chapters in. Yay for me. Philophobia would be a comic or a graphic novel. I'm not sure. I know I said I had the direction planned, but And Nameless. I so want this to be an animated series. I'd break my back and need a team, but hopefully when I'm ready, it'll be possible. So, I didn't know what kind of content to post. I wanted to do a lot of things and I got confused, hence the name. All I knew was that I wanted to share my worlds and entertain people with them, and to control y'all's emotions however I want. Hopefully, you might be interested. If you are, that means I did my job properly. If you'd like writing tips, art tutorials, more story time, or you just want more lore, let me know in the comments. I have so many video ideas because I talk about anything and everything. Well, anything and everything I can. And remember, keep creating. Perplexity out.